All right. Hey, guys. Saggies, first off, I need to apologize to you guys. I misspoke. Um, I thought I thought last night I had done Sag, but Aries had actually interrupted. I'm so sorry. It was actually Pisces that I ended on last night, and I was thinking tonight that I owed Pisces, and then I got into you guys last night, and it was the reverse. So my apologies, Sagittarians. I have just these last 5 zodiacs to do. I was almost going to cheat my Saggies, so forgive me, but I think we have Carol to thank for putting me back on track. So, Carol, if you're out there, thank you, my love, and I'm sorry that I misspoke. We have a 2 of Pentacles. The 2 of Pentacles, now this is a kind of touch base on the topic of love right now. We've got Sag possibly being, of 2 minds about something. They're having the higher perspective, but they're still weighing the pros and cons, or they're weighing how they feel about something. 3 of Pentacles sideways. Would I really want to deal with this person again or not? Could I really see me connecting to them again or not? Would I really want this or not? We have a 4 of Pentacles and we have a 4 of Cups. There's a big, a big component of this where I think Sag is weighing the, I'll say, is my life better with or without conversing with this person, having them in my life, sharing my energy with them? If I blocked somebody or pushed them out of my life, did I do it for a reason? Is that reason still valid? If I'm bummed out, am I bummed out because I miss them? Or am I bummed out because this is a mistake? We're great together and we definitely can still work things out. We can miss somebody who we already know, I don't want to bring them back into my life. I miss them. I'm bummed because we can't be good together. Or is this Sag saying, I'm bummed and I miss him because we should have been working this out, and I still want to do that because I really have confidence this can be worked out. See, right now I'm thinking that this is leaning more heavily on the side of Sag saying, I don't see how we're going to be successful together, and that's where I'm bummed out. It's too bad because I wish that this could have been different. SOG Inap, thank you so much, love. Thank you. You are so sweet, honey. Thank you for being here. We've got the Knight of Swords and we got the King of Pentacles. I gotta think that Sag is actually possibly weighing, do I let go completely of someone in my past that I admittedly already kind of like blocked out of my life? And I wish I hadn't had to do that, but I think it was the most prudent decision. And now do I actually move towards somebody else, someone who I view as someone I respect, somebody I like, someone I'd like to start talking to? I think Sag is in a decision-making mindset right now. Which is the better choice for me? This 3 of Pentacles can be the choice between 2 different people to interact with. I think that one thing is pretty clear. A King of Pentacles, Sag finds very respectable. They like this person. They see this person as stable. They see this individual as someone who has a lot to offer. And I think Sag likes talking to them. I think the other person, Sag blocked out of their life for a valid reason, but that is not the way they wanted it to go. In a perfect world, Sag would not have had to block somebody out of their life. I think Sag had to block the one that they really wanted to be with, but for one reason or another, Sag is like, I can't. Let's just ask. Let's ask from this deck. Universe, you want to weigh in and just say, why did Sag have to block the person that they're bummed out to have had to say goodbye to? King of Wands, it doesn't matter what gender. I never care about genders in our stories necessarily, but Sag had to step into their masculine energy and perhaps either pursue this person, or perhaps they found themselves having to play a role in order to be with this person that they didn't really want to play. Maybe Sag didn't want to be the King of Wands. We have the 9 of Pentacles. It kind of looks like Sag says, well, it felt like I was still single even when I was with this other person. We don't even see the person here. You notice all we see is Saggy's reaction. And so I'm thinking that Sag probably felt like I had to cut somebody out of my life because I felt like I was alone anyway when I was with them. Maybe Sag, was the one who had to like make dates with them and pick them up and spend money on them. Maybe Sag was like they weren't really dating me, I was dating them. I don't know if Sag identifies as a masculine or a feminine, but we can see Sag ended up feeling like they were playing both roles in the relationship. I was pursuing them, and I had to stop myself from pursuing them. And it bummed me out because I wish that they had pursued me, but they just didn't. And I don't want to go chase somebody and, maybe Sag had more money than this person. Maybe Sag was in a healthier, more empowered mindset. But I think Sag ultimately has had to make the decision to say, I got to stop myself from pursuing someone who isn't really giving back to me. In the meantime, there's somebody else who would very much like to give to Sag. And I think Sag is saying it would behoove me to move towards someone who is dateable material. I can totally relate to that element of this story. I know in the past, I've literally, that's like the dialogue I had with myself. I'm like, I'm dating them, they're not dating me, and it was like, okay, reality check. And it's always a bummer when you're like, yeah. And we could simplify it and say, oh, they're just not that into you. Sometimes that's not necessarily what it is either. Sometimes it's that someone doesn't have the capacity, or they're not well enough, or their head isn't there, or they're not at the same maturity level, or whatever it is. But choosing to say, let me see this for what it is. If somebody's not pursuing me, instead I'm pursuing them, this feels like a one-sided transaction. I think I need to stop transacting. Like I totally think that that's a relatable storyline, because I know I've done that in my own life in the past, and had to do that reality check. Don't we all chase somebody in our 20s who clearly is not giving us much attention in return? Like, we all do that at some point. This feels like Sag is not making that mistake, though. They're going ahead and saying, nah, I want to go where there's maturity. So tell us more about that King of Pentacles, because this looks very much like Sag is saying, yeah, I'd like to get to know them instead. 7 of Wands. It's funny, though, because Sag is a little bit more guarded with this person. Why would Sag be guarded with somebody who's actually a more mature, more alluring individual? 7 of Pentacles. Sag is like, look, because I want to make sure that I'm really getting to know them, that I didn't give them attributes that they don't deserve. I don't want to think that they're a king if maybe they're not. Let me just get to know them slowly. Let me take time. I understand. Like, this looks like Sag is just saying, I want to make sure that I go in eyes wide open. We have the Nurturer of Cups, and we have the Strength card. This is kind of sweet. It's a Sag knows that they have a tendency to want to be really loving, really giving, really nurturing. And although we have a masculine on this card, there's actually a feminine. This is the Queen of Cups, but they chose to put a masculine on it. And once again, we have that dynamic playing where Sag is like, sometimes I can play the role of masculine and feminine all at once. Sometimes I can wind up being overgiving. Sometimes I can wind up being the person who's actually unwittingly, I slip into the role of doing too much for someone that I'm dating, loving on them, giving them all the nurturing before I realize I didn't give them a chance to nurture me back. I think Sag is really practicing the art of, let me make sure I actually meet someone where they're at. Let me make sure I allow a relationship that's equal to develop. And I think Sag is like, this takes a lot of strength for them to hold themselves back when they want so much to just be super loving, super giving. And this is not for Sag to be like, okay, I'm going to be more calculating. I'm going to, not, if they only smiled at me twice, while I had a conversation with them, I'm only going to smile at them once and a half. I'm not saying it's going to be like crazy, like down to the wire. I don't want to be overly nurturing, but I do think Sag is using all of their willpower to say, let me slowly get to know someone before I just open up the gates to my heart and give them all of my loyalty, my love, my compassion, I think Sag knows they it takes a lot of strength for Sag to hold back because they tend to be somebody who's pretty fearless and they go all in. I love the Sag. I think that they're really kind. I think that they're really loving, but they're also intelligent. Death card, they're determined to do it different this time. This is their year to, like do a reset. I'm going to listen to my intuition. I'm going to go ahead and do things differently. I'm going to let this King of Pentacles pursue me as well, slowly over time. Now, if it feels like nothing's going on and Sag gets bored, Sag also has to be able to cut bait and be like, yeah, they weren't rocking my world. That person didn't move fast enough, or there wasn't much going on. Sag needs to be discerning, I think. And I think they know that. But I was trying to talk about the King of Pentacles, but we keep getting Saggy's expectations, about their own behavior. When we look at the King of Pentacles, we do have the Tower. So this King of Pentacles their world has been rocked since they met Sag. I don't know if they are they may tend to stare at Sag a lot. Like maybe they either find Sag is really attractive, or it's so funny because they want to move fast. And Sag is like, I want to move slow. This is so funny because it's the Action of Swords. The King of Pentacles is, I think, pretty crazy about Sag, but Sag keeps them, even like on a date or something. Sag might be like, I don't want to do too much canoodling. I don't want to sit too close and be too familiar too soon. They know Sag is still like getting over something, but I think they're a little bit wrong about that. It's not that Sag is getting over the person from the past so much as Sag is saying, I want to get to know somebody better before I just let them into my heart. I'm trying to do things differently. They think Sag is maybe still broken over somebody else. I would not say that. I just think Sag is like, I'm going to date somebody. I'm going to get to know this King of Pentacles. But the King of Pentacles thinks Sag is still heartbroken, still moving on. They wish that they could get Sag to like cuddle up closer to them a little faster. We've got the Devil card here. I kind of think that they're hooked on Sag. I kind of think Sag is a bit of their fantasy. It just feels like they are a little bit obsessed with Sag. 10 of Wands in the reverse. And you know what? Admittedly, they have their own fears. This is kind of triggering them. Sag being a little bit like, let me keep you a little bit at arm's length could be triggering this King of Pentacles a bit to like worry about being rejected, worry that Sag wishes they were with somebody else. They have their own fears. Okay, so hang on. Universe, you want to weigh in on this because this is a great example of how we don't realize that other people have their own, life stories, and they're interpreting our actions and our behavior through their own lens too. And we can unwittingly hurt somebody because we forget they've been through stuff as well. So this is where I think great dialogue between Sag and this King of Pentacles would be really useful. But let's see. Universe, do you want to say anything to Sag? 2 of Swords and King of Cups. It's the reminder that everybody's heart's on the line. Saggy's heart is on the line. And although Sag wants to go slower and really get to know somebody, absolutely, that makes sense, right? But remember, this is anytime we see scales, we know it's about balancing things, about 2 different people. The 2 of Swords is about how we block things. And right now, Sag might not be paying much attention to the fact that this King of Pentacles might be going through their own like feelings of rejection or something in regards to how Sag is keeping them a bit at arm's length. This just says handle with care. Handle everyone with care. King of Cups, we can remember we already had that Queen of Cups card that actually had the masculine on it for Sag. And Sag was like, I am going to hold back my love. I am so not going to overgive this time. And the universe is kind of like, well, now wait a second. If the King of Pentacles is being really attentive and really, wanting to be present with Sag, then show the affection. It's okay to meet somebody where the affection is, if it's sincere. if there's caring, if there's compassion, I mean, building an emotional bond still doesn't mean you have to give them your whole heart to show them that you care about them, to be, gentle with them, I don't know, there is this element here where it says treat everybody like their hearts are made of glass, because ultimately most of us have had wounds. I think it's kind of a nice, gentle encouragement. As much as we see Sag wanting to, navigate the waters of, I don't want to fall for somebody or give them too much of my trust before it's warranted, the universe counters with, yes, but in doing that, we can also still be mindful that we don't block the ability to build an emotional bond. So it's not scolding Sag or anything. It's just the reminder that everybody, we all do better when we're treated with gentleness. I mean, I don't think there's a human being out there that doesn't appreciate it. If you ever just want to practice and see, try, walking into any business, anywhere, for any reason, and respond nicely. Tell the checker like what a great checker they are. Tell them that you're glad they're there to help you. Thank them for that. Let them know that they're valuable. Let them know, God, the company's lucky to have you working here. Giving somebody those feel goods completely can change their demeanor, and it's like we can impact each other so nicely with just those gentle, and I mean, obviously, if it needs to be sincere, otherwise it's just going to feel creepy and weird. But we rarely walk around and give each other like positive reinforcement, and it just kind of says, if we all benefit, everybody. I mean, you tell your pet that they're a good boy, and your pet's little ears perk up and they're all happy to hear it. But humans are really no different. Admiring somebody, telling somebody that they're good at what they do, a perfect stranger that you see doing something amazing, giving them the accolades. It goes a long way to making somebody feel so much warmer, and they're warmer towards you in response. And I just kind of feel like maybe that's, build the emotional bond of like friendship. Let somebody know that they're valuable instead of letting them feel like, I don't know, you probably don't like me, you're probably stuck on somebody else, I'll probably get rejected. All of that's building in this King of Pentacles mind right now. We got the Five of Pentacles. It's definitely like, don't leave anybody out in the cold. That's what the big message is here. Sag doesn't want to be out in the cold. They know all too well what that's like. But this King of Pentacles, now Sag has the chance to make sure that they carry this King of Pentacles heart carefully in their hands too. I love this message because it's about how to treat each other really well. And that could actually be the thing that makes a relationship like so stable and so like it blossoms so well. And it takes such small effort just to be really gentle with somebody and let them know that you like them, that you care about them, even though you still may not want to hand them your whole heart and give them all your trust. But there's a way to make sure that you don't leave them out in the cold either. I think that's such a valuable, I almost wish this wasn't just a Sag message, because I think that's probably one of the most valuable, reminders for humans, like as a whole. I don't know. I feel like that was a really good reminder. Is this going to have a positive impact then? Because I kind of feel like this is the way to wind up turning this thing around. Sag really likes this King of Pentacles in this story, and we know that they're nuts about Sag. Guess what? Suddenly, we've got a bond building where, I mean, I know Sag is a fire sign, but Sag is shifting into a Queen of Pentacles energy, which would be the perfect match for that King of Pentacles, and vice versa. They see a sense of stability. This is a bond does become something more tangible, more real. This is the swiftest way to start building that trust. I loved this one. I feel like Sag just might be building a relationship that is like one for the rest of their life. And it's all because of treating each other with such grace and kind of like bringing this relationship that kind of was headed for the brink just a little bit. It's bringing it back from the brink and getting this relationship on track. So very nice. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here, and then we're going to go over, we still have 4 more zodiacs I would like to get to tonight, so everybody gets at least one. Next, I think I've got Aries, and then I think it's Scorpio, and then Ophiuchus and Gemini. Tammy Secord, great to see you. Caitlin V, Wendy E. I so agree with you, Wendy. Well said. Hi, Carol. Carol, I'm so sorry. I was completely tripping. I was so wrong. I thought I had done Sag. No, it was Pisces that I did last night. So my apologies, love. But thank you so much, Carol, that you caught my error. So thank you, sweetheart. Voyager 2. Mary. Thanks again, Tammy Secord. I love that. Yes. I love that. SOG and app, thank you again. Astro, great to see you. Sexy Senator Sag, so into it 333. Thank you, love. Really great to see you. All right, you guys, I'll see you again in just a few. Walking Nat, Voyager 2. Thank you, guys. Bye for right now.